Philadelphia, Tulsa, Chattanooga, and every urban city and every damn day. Only in America, only in this country, simple tasks like going grocery shopping and going to church end in bloodshed and death and destruction. AR-15s that pulverize children, decapitate them, bullets riddled, and bodies strewn all across the streets of America. Enough prayers, enough empty thoughts. This is a defining moment, young people. A moment in this country. And I want everyone to know that every movement in this country, from a woman's rights, to civil rights, to gay rights, to transgender rights, to disabled rights, to voting for change, for the environment, did not start with politicians. It was all you, young people who led and politicians who followed. And so I urge members of the GOP to man up. Man up. Man up. And stand up to those who are standing in the way of progress. Stand up to those who are holding this country hostage. And break the chains that have bound this country. Now, I'm sick and tired of praying. I've run out of prayers. And I'm tired of going to funerals. Funeral after funeral. I'm tired of holding mothers and fathers in my arms, crying over open caskets. I've been doing it for far too damn long. Because as public officials, we were elected to solve problems and address the needs of the people. And when I was elected many years ago, being a coward was not part of the job description.
I forget all of your names if I haven't already.
I wanted to stop investing public pension funds into companies and retailers that sell guns.
Well, you're running with a very bad crowd. I hope you're okay.
We shut down dozens of companies that sell ghost guns. Because we won't wait for the federal government to regulate.
So I take it you're completely against Second Amendment, right?
We've taken thousands of guns
No,
out.
I'm against an unregulated Second Amendment.
Oh, okay. Because I see BS, 2A, BS. Okay, so not completely. It's just different way.
The way it is right now is complete BS.
Oh, okay.
Because people don't know about the well-regulated part. They don't talk about it.
Well-regulated
And they don't
militia.
do it.
Yeah.
Being a safe, yeah, they don't. It isn't what's going on. What's going on right now is if you want a weapon of, an AR-15 caliber, you can get it. That's not the Second Amendment.
It's not.
That's just like you want to get a piece of pizza. You want to get an AR. Free country.
So what should we do, you think? What's the solution?
Well, I certainly think that what's right in New York City isn't right what's up in upstate. Upstate, it's a different situation. But having one law for the entire country is basically having no law.
So you
it's
mean
the law of the marketplace?
So you mean it's better in New York versus upstate, or
No,
vice
it
versa?
has to make sense. It has to make sense for your location. It's like you can't have one speed limit for every road, right?
Okay.
It depends where you are. So in rural communities where people think about guns differently, I have no right to tell them what to have. I don't think anybody needs an AR. But I can't tell people you can't have a gun in a rural community. The hell do I know? But I certainly don't want to have guns in my apartment buildings and all these offices in New York on the subway, everybody's armed. No, I don't think that makes sense. I think it makes as little sense to have unlimited guns in New York City as it would be to have to limit guns upstate or in other parts of the country.
But isn't it the case? I mean, it's virtually impossible to get a gun in New York City.
Good.
That's good.
That's great. But that's because of local laws.
Okay.
You know, but right now.
So, but then what you're protesting? So it seems to be working. There are different laws in New York City versus rural state of New York. So everything's fine then, no?
You think everything's fine?
No, I'm asking. I don't know.
Yes, you
I don't
do.
know the subject that well. That's what I'm asking.
I don't think it's working that well. I think it'd be working a lot better. And I think our politicians are all on the take, and nobody wants to address it. We can do better, right?
But what specifically do you think we should do?
First of all, ban those kinds of weapons totally.
Like what?
Like an AR.
Okay.
I don't think anybody should have one.
Okay. Even in the rural areas, anywhere in America.
Why would you need one? Why would you need a weapon that is designed to kill a whole lot of people really, really quick?
Well, but
it's not hunting.
Well, but you got back to the origin of the Second Amendment, well-regulated militia.
That's all I want.
Yeah.
I just want well-regulated. Well-regulated means thinking.
Well, but when the government is for protecting yourself against the tyrannical government.
Without an AR.
You think so? No, I mean when we talk about tyrannical government, and again, our founding fathers, that's what I think about. Back then, obviously, not gun violence in New York City. It was tyrannical government. It was in the age of tyranny that the Second Amendment came into our Constitution.
Our holy founding fathers, living in a completely different world, slaveholders and racists, and had no idea about what we would be facing. And in their genius, and I mean that, they gave us a Constitution that could be amended. They didn't want a Constitution that would be worshipped like some holy text that could never be changed. Or they would not have given us the ability to amend it, right?
Well, we did, yeah.
All right,
Prohibition.
So there's no reason to have an AR-15. Anybody. And let's go argue that. Let's go argue that instead of like running away. Say, well, you know what? Maybe 18 is too young. We'll let a 21-year-old get an AR. That's not a real argument. That's not a real discussion.
Okay. But then who is there to decide which guns to have, which guns not to have?
Process. Let's talk about it. Let's make the best case, and we vote on the facts reflecting the will of the people, based on argument, peaceful but passionate debate on facts. Not saying I have a right to this. No, you don't have a right to an AR. That's my field. You have a right to a gun, I guess, under your local laws, maybe, right? But yeah, there have to be some kind of.
But the arguments have been going on, for quite some time, and it seems like
they're not honest arguments because the politicians and the media are bribed by corporations that have a financial interest in the status quo. That's not talking about the actual issues of whether someone needs an AR or not. The AR manufacturers need to sell ARs. You know, the people who want to keep us at each other's throats for one reason or another, they don't want an honest debate. I would like to have an honest debate about what kind of weapons you need, and maybe what kind of weapons you definitely don't need. To protect your right to have the ones that you might need. Or you might want, but there's no reason to have that, or to have a tank, or a grenade launcher, or a nuclear weapon. There's no reason for an individual to have that. At one point, where's the line? Let's talk about that. I feel the AR is way over that line. Somebody else can talk about this kind of rifle, this kind of gun is on the other side. Okay, I don't know shit about guns. So
you don't know anything about
No, but I do
but
know.
other than how good. Okay.
But I do know that the kind of guns that gave us, Texas, and gave us Newtown, and gave us House Nightclub, and gave us that Las Vegas concert, and on, those weapons are not needed by anybody outside of the military, and that's a different story. Individual people, their bloody right to bear arms, bullshit on weapons like that.
Okay,
Have your own gun.
but let's say a pistol. It's okay to have a pistol.
Well, at some point we have to talk about specifics, and people like myself who admittedly don't know anything can get an education. But I don't need to be an expert on guns to know that those kinds of guns are over the line, where I'm telling you that somebody wants to take a gun for shooting a stupid clay pigeon. I think that's a dumb thing to do with your time, but fine. Okay, you load the gun, you shoot a single bullet into a piece of pottery that's flying through the air. That's your thing. You want to hit a target? Fine. What do I care? You're not going to kill 19 children and 21 people, the teachers, with a gun like that.
Okay.
You're not really threatening people with a gun like that any more than, I have a knife that I cut up a cucumber with at home.
Right.
I'm not threatening you. I'm not. Fine. Have your stupid gun. Okay.
Stupid. Okay.
But yeah. No
So the guns are stupid.
My opinion.
Okay.
But I'm not.
All guns.
I'm not going to tell you that you can't have a sane weapon. I am telling you should not have an insane weapon. And while I am admitting that I have an education that I need, I don't need. Listen, man. I don't need to be an astronaut to know the moon is in space. Okay. And Jupiter is in space. I'm not an astronaut. Pretty sure that's where it is, though. The AR-15 is an insane weapon, and nobody needs it.
Okay.
You have one?
I don't need one, but if I could, I would have gotten one, but not this one.
Why would you want one?
If I lived perhaps in a different neighborhood, I would have had one.
AR?
Why not? Just for the heck of it.
You think
What
that's
if-
a- you think that's a good reason?
what
You
if-
think that's a good excuse?
Look, I came from USSR originally, okay?
from where?
USSR.
Okay.
The most tyrannical place you can think of, okay? Now that place, Russia invaded Ukraine. Zelensky, one of the first things that he did, he gave ordinary people guns. Everyone who wants to get guns, he gave guns. So now there's a fighting chance against the tyrannical Russia. So the same thing here. I'm totally sane, normal person. If I have a gun sitting locked in my basement or whatever, I mean, so be it. I will only use it if the government changes this country and start turning tyrannical. That gives me peace of mind. If something like that happens, well, I have this AR-15 in my basement.
What the hell good is it going to do for you? How are you going to...
Tyrannical government.
You have a tyrannical government. They've crossed the line with you. They've told you to use a different kind of light bulb, or that you need to do something you don't want to do. You now think it's a tyranny? How comes your gun?
No, this is not a tyranny. I lived in tyranny, so I know what tyranny is.
Okay.
So I can see tyranny. I can recognize tyranny. Okay.
How is your gun going to stop it if you get a tyrannical government?
Well, I prevent the government turning tyrannical. That's what's going to happen. Before it turns tyrannical, I have a chance, and people like me who understand and willing to fight for freedom will prevent this government turning tyrannical. As simple as that. And that's the fundamental thing about the Second Amendment. Not about, children. I mean, it's deplorable, obviously, but, unfortunately things happen. But fundamentally, the Second Amendment is about protecting your freedoms. Freedoms, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, and there's nothing more wonderful than that. Me saying that coming from...
Those kids have rights too. Those kids had those rights taken away from them because somebody, a crazy kid, had that gun.
This is a country of 320 million today, okay? So almost all of us, except, those unfortunate kids who were murdered by these sick people.
Their rights taken away from them by a tyrannical individual.
We're enjoying free government. It might change its course a bit from Trump to Biden, from Obama to whatever. But overall, it's a free country still. And with us having the guns, we'll make sure that it'll remain free for the foreseeable future, forever, hopefully, as long as we have the right to protect ourselves thanks to the Second
Amendment.
Amendment.
The only way that you can protect yourself from a tyrannical government is with a weapon like an AR.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
We disagree.
Well, that's my opinion. Again, I'm saying that coming from USSR, I saw evil in the eye.
New York City, no one needs an AR. I don't know about the USSR and hypothetical situations that might arrange here.
It's not hypothetical. I mean, it's real. And the threat is not only coming from, might come from within, theoretically. The real threat is coming from beyond. And of course, we have the army for that.
Yeah.
Russia, China, all these nefarious countries.
The real threat is happening from people like cowboys. And
seriously,
and you don't think so?
Seriously, and who are they? Like
they're our fellow Americans who are armed like you are.
And how many are them? Are they?
How many do they need to be? Look what they did on January 6th.
What did they do? Did they kill anybody?
Well, yes, they did. People did die.
No,
they didn't.
There's a policeman who killed an innocent woman inside the Capitol.
Half a dozen cops died one way or the other. There was that one guy who got sprayed, a couple committed suicide later. I don't want to argue about it, all right?
Okay.
The thing is, how many do you really need? You think it's a lot more likely for China or USSR to attack us than to have during the last election in Michigan, there were people, that kind of group, tried to abduct the governor in Michigan.
Okay, yeah, they were dealt with. I'm against that. Yeah,
they were dealt with.
How about Western Underground? How about the leftists who actually killed policemen, who actually were riding over here with lethal results? What about that? So I was condemning Weather Underground, for example. There were leftist movements, plenty of those.
What are we talking about?
Weather Underground.
Okay, in the 60s.
Well,
a million years ago. Yeah.
Well, doesn't matter. This is the country that's been around for 250 years or more.
It matters in terms of the technology about guns.
Killing someone is killing someone. They killed someone with a bomb.
Okay, but you're going to kill a lot less with a gun that's not
But this is not my point. The point is tyrannical government. Those leftists, the idea was changing the entire government, changing the way we live, turning into the semblance of USSR. So I will fight to death against turning our country, beloved country, into something that I escaped from. That's the reason for the Second Amendment. That's the reason why people have guns in the first place. Not shooting clay pigeons or whatever. Of course not. It's a hobby, but fundamentally.
In the late 1700s, you had wild animals. You were in the middle of taking the land back from the Native Americans who could have, at some point, said, guess what? It looks like there's a tyrannical government coming to our shores. And the white man, maybe we have to fight these white guys who are coming over. If they had the ARs, they would be making your point, and I'd be a little bit more sympathetic to you. All right, but I'm just saying a simple thing, man. I'm saying a simple thing, which at some point I admit it's complicated. Freedom is messy. I respect your history with the USSR and all. I really do.
Thank you.
But I'm saying there's no easy solution. But at some point,
nothing is easy. Nothing is simple.
No, some things are easy. Some things are clearly over the line.
But again, it's your opinion. Now we have your opinion over my opinion. Well, so how would you resolve that?
Well, here we vote. We vote.
We vote, okay.
And we accept when we lose.
That's true, okay.
We accept when we lose.
Okay.
You keep hearing in the news that most quote-unquote responsible gun owners back the idea of background checks, red flag laws, and some sort of restrictions on buying ARs and weapons like that that would not prevent people from not having guns.
Just like the drugs, illicit drugs.
Don't change the subject of it.
Okay.
But some regulation. And we can argue about what that regulation is. And that regulation may change from the city to upstate to other parts of the country. But the idea that the government and the people's will expressed through the government can change over time, but we recognize that we need speed limits. We recognize that we need to have our food regulated, so when it says that the milk won't go bad for 2 weeks, it actually won't go bad for 2 weeks. We recognize the need for regulation, right?
Well, I was
Most people do.
I was recently in Texas, for example, and you know, we talked to a girl, loves guns, and it's easy to get guns in Texas. However, you do have to go through these security and background checks. So yeah, there are regulations. You go through the background checks.
Well, in my opinion, and in the opinion of a lot of people, if we had an honest process, which we don't, because the process is corrupt, because the politicians are corrupt, and the media is stupid. But if we had, because they won't just give you the facts.
So everything is bad in America. Politicians are corrupt, media is stupid. Is there anything good in America then? Name one thing that is good in this country.
It's not as bad as it could be. How's that?
It's not as best?
It's not as bad as it could be. It's like that old joke about that old guy, about the guy who dies. Like, I don't know. I'm born Jewish. I don't live Jewish.
Well, I'm Jewish though.
Okay, so a guy dies, right?
It's a Jewish joke.
Jewish joke.
Okay.
My father used to tell this joke. Guy's a total son of a bitch. Everybody hates him. All right, he dies. And there's some tradition where, all right, we're gonna put the man in the ground. Can someone say anything good about him? And no one says anything. And the rabbi's like, come on. There's got to be something good that you can say about this man before we put him in the ground. Finally, the guy gets up and says, his brother was worse.
Well, I'm really sorry to hear that that's the opinion of America. Me coming from USSR, the worst place you can think of. I love America. Nothing's perfect, obviously.
We're very fortunate.
Well, thanks to people like me.
You and your AR?
I am a lifelong member of National Rifle Association. Yes, I don't own the gun, but I believe in Second Amendment for the reason that I stated before.
Our country is good for people like my wife, who is a teacher.
No.
I think we're better off for having a dedicated, committed teacher like my wife. Okay.
It depends on what she teaches, but it's a different subject. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, straight up. I don't know if you think it's recording or not, but your gun does not make me safer at all.
It doesn't.
It does not.
Okay, well, there's a policeman around the corner. He has a gun. Is he making you safer having a gun? Or would you rather have him remove his gun as well? What do you think?
That guy's making me safer? I don't think that guy's making me safer.
Really? You don't think the police is making you safer? Then what will make you safer?
Did the police make those kids safer in Texas? They did not. They fucking sat around to watch their own ass. Cops care about cops. Cops care about cops. That's what cops care about.
Maybe we should ask him?
I don't need to fucking ask him. Cops care about cops.
Maybe we can talk to him. Do you want to talk to him and ask him?
You're enjoying this, right?
No, I'm just asking.
Yeah, you're fucking enjoying it. I know your kind of people. You're enjoying this. I respect your history. I respect that we don't necessarily agree.
Okay,
but you need to win all the time.
No,
I'm telling you that there are murky areas. That there are things, the process is a mess at some point. We go back and forth.
I'm all for improving it. I'm all for it.
It won't ever improve because listen. Let me rephrase. It will never be clear and clean and perfect because life isn't like that. But there are some points where we can say, this is over the line. And maybe there will be outliers that say, no, I don't think that an AR-15 is an outrageous weapon that nobody needs. I think I need that. Now, you may have a right to it under these crazy days we live in. But do you need an AR? I'm going to tell you, you know what? I don't know shit about guns. You don't need a gun that fires really powerful bullets, I don't know how many rounds per second, that pulverize a body to a point where you can't even recognize what's left anymore. You personally, protecting against this tyrannical government, do not need that weapon. All right? So? My argument, you can have other guns, a gun at that point, I don't know, I doubt it. You want a tank? You want a tank? Might be a really tyrannical government. You want a tank? Want a rocket launcher? Yeah, you do. You do. If you can afford it, you would take it because you fucking get your heart on over your fucking weapons. Fuck that shit.
Okay. Nice talking to you. I'm sorry about this guy. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone.
He thinks that the police doesn't protect us, so the guns don't protect us. It's like, seriously? Ugh, these people are sick.
Day in and day out.
Thanks for your service.
And we have been talking a lot about mass shooting today. We've been talking about mass shootings in schools, unfortunately, in churches, in grocery stores, at concerts. But what I'd like to talk about just